Hi. Nice to meet you.
Yes, very nice to meet you.
What do I have to say? When you have these kids that's coming for war soon, often they don't want to talk about it.
Mhm.
One thing you had to know when you work with kids there is below 6-7 years is that often they have seen a lot in extrasensoric way. So they know more than they should be able to know. Uh, and people don't listen to them because that must be their fantasy, and people and so on and so on. So they get more and more not talking about it.
And what do you mean they have seen what they should not have seen, like with
It
extrasensory?
is like uh, when you go up in a spiritual energy, then you are able to see or hear things that happen, but not here.
Mm-hmm.
That happen other places,
Mm-hmm.
but that is important for them. Like if their house has been bombed after they have been away from it, they see it because the house is connected with some very important for them. So it come up like a picture, or they know it from people talking about it or something, but they have not heard it in this kind of reality.
Mm-hmm. So more in their own fantasy, you could say.
Yeah, but it is not a fantasy.
Yeah.
There is a difference between making fantasy about what can happen and then have this experience where you deeply inside know it is true, but the grown-ups say it is not true.
Mm-hmm.
So you stop talking about it. And I know it from theory, but I also know it from myself during the war. I
Mm-hmm.
stopped talking about it, and I first started to talk about it when I was around 12 years, and there have not been war in 6 years in Denmark, and so I was more safe. And then I was lucky that my dad listened and found pictures, and I have seen people that I physical not have seen.
Okay.
And then he said, you know, and you have known more than we knew you did know.
Do you think most of the kids have this kind of experience?
Most of the kids, when they're around 3-4 years, it's natural for them.
Mm-hmm.
When they're 6 years, they often stop it, but not when it is in a danger situation like these kids are.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is like, it is before you really can make sense of what is going on. I mean, we cannot make sense. Why are they involved?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do you think children can?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have this kind of extrasensory, they get some kind of experience that often make them to make a kind of thoughts that get in to be a decision, a shock decision that they had to. But they also, because the grown-up don't listen to them or throw it away, stop talking about it.
Yeah.
So you cannot talk with them about it, but you can tell it must be very scary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And some people are even able to hear and see things that the parents don't think they see. But what can you draw your fear?
Mm-hmm.
Make drawing with them.
Mm-hmm. So you think it's important to for kids that they go into this scary where that make them scared and afraid and
Yeah, but to do it in a safe way.
what would be that?
That will be to make drawing.
Okay. Okay.
That's the first one. That's also what you see psychotic children are doing, they make drawing about the reality they're able to see, but they don't talk about it. So that's more safe. And or move like the fear. Some kids are more into the movement part,
Yeah.
dance like it,
Yeah.
or whatever. But don't go direct in to talk about it. But you tell them that you really understand. They must be very frightened. And that some people even know more than. Some people have seen picture that in some way that they shouldn't be able to see, but they saw it. And I'm totally trusting that they saw it or they hear it. Then I often tell them about some of the kids I've had that had a lot of this kind of experience, or myself or whatever.
Yeah. But what do you suggest when, like, the parents, they come also from horror situation? How can they do anything, or you say
No?
Yeah,
They cannot.
they cannot.
Yes, they cannot open up for it. But what they can do is that they can tell that they also are scared. I am scared. It is scary, but we are out of it now. We're safe.
To come back to here and now when they're out.
Yeah. And then I will say, and we will find out how to make a life. If you cannot come back, we will do it another place.
And what about when they miss their father, for example?
That is on the other side. Yeah. I was going to talk about that. Then you say, I'm scared too that he's on the other side. But sometimes grown up had to fight for what you think is right. And yes, he is in danger. So the only thing we can do is to pray, or whatever you will call it. It's different. And think about him in a good way, so he perhaps get good energy from us.
And think about your dad in this case in a good way, in concrete, is like remember the nice things you was doing together.
Yeah, remember when he read for you, or what he did. He did. What did he do that you really like?
Yeah. So not towards that the child is so afraid, how is he there, and thinking about the danger, but more about what is the nice things together.
Yeah, exactly. Because they need to be able to have this thought, and as more we have this kind of good thought, we in some way heal things instead of disturb them more.
Really?
Yeah, we do. In a higher level, we do.
Okay.
So we had to send good energy to them, and the kids don't know how to send good energy. So the best is to remember good things, because then automatically they send good things to him.
Yes, that's a very good suggestion. Very clear, and I think very concrete.
The parents can also, the mom, the aunt, the grandmom, who they are there, can also read for them. Read some good things. Fairy tale, there's ending good, or you go through things and then it end good. That is a good thing to do. And then sometimes they start to talk. I do that for my therapist kids when they are very, very scared. And what more can you
It's to give hope. With what purpose?
Hope. Yeah, you talk about when we think about the good things, then we're able to make hope that it will come back. It will come back maybe not in that apartment we
Left.
had left, but other place that are being our place,
Yeah. Yeah.
and send hope that we see the dad again.
Yes. Yes.
That's what we can do.
Yeah. So you say both things, and saying, if you're the parent, I'm afraid also, and yes, the dad is
Yeah.
in danger. So there is reality that is
The
not so
reality.
nice.
So you're allowed to talk about your fear.
Yes. And at the same time, when you think about your dad, please think about the nice things you had together. What was good experiences.
Yeah.
So in a way, sending the good energy to the
Yeah.
dad and to yourself in that way.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
reading stories with good endings,
Yeah.
to create more hope for them also in their fantasy.
Yeah. And I know you probably have a lot of fairy tales. There's in some ways pretty rough, but end good, because I have seen fairy tales book from your country too.
Mm-hmm.
And that is good to read. And we go through a lot of bad things and then it ends good.
Yes. Yes.
You have to know the ending.
Yeah.
Don't read a book where it ends bad.
Maybe some people can write when we post the video in the comments with suggestions of what for them was a good book or good story to read with a good ending. So we can read each other's and share this.
Exactly, that would be a great idea.
Yes, yes.
Because you have your own kind of fairy tale in each country and the little difference, and it is important that it is yours.
Yes, yes. So what about the people that are social workers that get some of the children?
And it's the same. Sit with them. Talk about what you know about war, how terrible it is, and how scary you would have been if you have been in her situation. Don't make fantasy about what you had to do. You know deep inside you how it is to be this child, and you tell that.
I have fantasy that maybe for some social workers, it is scary to touch this area because it's so horrible. So they maybe avoid it. So
but then,
because they're afraid it would be maybe overwhelming for the children to speak about it because it's so horrible.
But you don't ask the kids to speak about it. You speak about it.
Mm-hmm. And what is that? What does it give for the kids when you do it?
Trust. There's someone that know how it is. There's someone that see me. There's someone that listen to me and believe me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the most important at all.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot say, yeah, it's terrible, the Russian is so bad, because it is not the Russian. It is a military part. It is a fight between military places, and it is more complicated like that. So I would say it is so terrible that there's war, and that they not even they are so knowledge, they should be so knowledge, they're not able to make negotiation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The most important is to learn to make negotiation between you and some of the kids you fight with. If you learn to make negotiation between that, then you start to learn it and can be able to do it when you grow up too.
Mm-hmm. And that's a very good one, because this is really a skill that can prevent fights.
And no more. First, when the child say, how do I make negotiation? Then you can start to talk about that. But it is like giving a lot of ideas, giving the child the trust that I'm here.
So, but what you also say, it's not to look for the bad guy who
No.
did it all.
No.
And you think this is very important.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Why is important not to put focus on, oh, they are the bad guys, that's why we are here? Is it because they put you in a
Because if you
victim
put-
position?
If we teach our kids to put it on the bad guy,
Yeah.
and like during Second War, we make Hitler as the bad guy. If you really read the history now, you know that some people behind him was worse.
Mm-hmm.
But we did this, and so many people did it, so it got up and get an archetype.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know that after the war, there were some white people coming into South America's mid-jungle? No one had been there before.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was painting the devil as Hitler.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it in
So
documentary.
they start to think, have Hitler been here? No, he had not. But when you have an archetype, that means something special. All people get it down. Like in Greenland, you have the tree of life. Also in the time when there was no tree in Greenland. How?
Yeah.
Think-
But why is it bad then? Why is it bad? Because I think many want to like blame it, like this is happening because of that, so they're the bad ones.
Yeah, but it is not how it is. Then you don't learn negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
You learn to hate, and hate will come back as hate.
Mm-hmm.
So it will never end.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for kids, it is crazy because you don't really know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want it to be safe and you want your dad to be there, but
Yeah, I'm just thinking when the kids ask question why this happen eventually, what do you answer?
I don't know. Not good. People, grown-up people are not learned to make negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
And there is too few people in a higher level that can do it. So that's the reason it is so important we learn that. Then the child don't ask more.
Yeah.
Because then you think, And in this way, you in some way can make a deep imprint that negotiation is very, very important.
Yeah.
So in some way, you even do it both in reality way, but also it go into the spirituality way. And you know 100 monkeys principle?
Yeah. But we can say it again.
100 monkey learn to wash it was a
Potato, yes.
in one island. Then they start to do it in another island, even they've never seen it. They've never been able to speak with each other. But it go like this. So if we can get 100 kids or more to believe that negotiation is the most important,
Mm-hmm.
then it will spread in the world.
That's a very good message. Very productive.
It is.
Yeah.
So don't, every time you put the hate over to one,
Mm-hmm.
then you make a polarity where you say it's not possible to make negotiation here.
Yeah, then it's the door closed.
Yeah, you close the door in the same time.
Yeah. What do you think about, because now children that are traveling with parents and The
Or
parents
family.
speak a lot about the war, and the kids are
Yeah.
there and they cry, the grown-ups as well.
The grown-up had to start to find the good things in where they are now. They had to be taknemmelig. They had to be happy for have been able to
Leave.
get out. And now they had to think about, what can I do now? Where do I want to be?
But they are looking at the news, like trying to follow what's going on and get, so sad.
Yeah, and of course you get scared and sad,
Mhm.
but try then to look at it when your kids are not there.
Mhm. Mhm.
The kids have more than enough.
Mhm. So what about speaking about it?
About what?
About the war, like they left the war, or they left the whole situation, and there is still danger, and there is still.
You had to say that, yeah, and you had to say you're scared. But if you cry and cry and cry,
Mhm.
then you teach your kids to be victim.
Mhm.
But you're not a victim more. You
Mhm.
have been able to come out of it.
Mhm.
And now you had to think about your future. What country would you like to come into? And
Well,
where-
some hope to come back, so they're still with the many
yeah,
hope.
but into you can come back.
Mhm.
What do you want to learn in the
Until,
time
yeah.
into you can come back?
So
What-
really,
Yeah, and think about, what do your country need when you come back?
mhm. Mhm.
Can you get a kind of education in some of that? So you really can help when you come back,
Yeah.
if that's what you want.
So really focus on here and now
Here and now and future.
and future,
Yeah.
not. Yeah. And there was also a
Because it
question.
will never be the same.
No.
Even you come back, your apartment, your place where you live was perhaps not there. You had to build something new. It's a new world you come back to.
Yeah.
It's a new Ukraine you come back.
Grown-ups, for the grown-ups, the holy three things.
Because that is so important. It's so important we don't make one side good and one side bad. In some way, I would love to read for you what Jes Bertelsen wrote. For me, it is, first I read it, say, okay, I know that. Why do you read that? But then I recognize people don't know.
What did he read? What did he write?
He also write, take care you don't put the bad side Russian,
Mm-hmm.
and take care you don't say Pushkin is the most terrible person,
Mm-hmm.
because then you make him to an archetype, and
Mm-hmm.
then he work even his dead
Mm-hmm.
from outside.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like also saying, because in a higher level, there's no good and no bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's energy.
Mm-hmm. So what is the three things you were saying? There was love, hope, and
Love, hope, and believe.
belief.
I believe in something. Maybe I believe in the earth. Or maybe I believe in the wholeness. Maybe I believe in a God. Maybe I believe in Allah. Maybe I believe what Buddha is saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a God. So, there is a,
To have a belief.
yeah. Maybe I believe in the Great Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
like the Native American. It doesn't matter what you believe in. Believe. that there is something that's higher than you, that know more than you. It's
Why is
not
that
them,
important?
that's not them that make this, but they know what to do.
Why is it important to have a belief, especially in this?
Because it balances your whole energy system. We know that people there are nearly dying from cancer or something. That was the first one that recognized it. It was a very rich person. And then I have his name someplace. And then, okay, you had 3 months left. And say, okay, but I don't want to sit here and have a terrible time. I want all my friends to come. That was not allowed in the hospital. So I say, okay, he have a lot of money. I moved to the hotel right across the street, and I hire some of the doctor to come and see to me every day. And I hire some nurse and so on. And then I hire so I can see movie. It was before television. And I love to see Max Brothers because I laugh. And then I invite all my good friends so we can get a whiskey and see Max Brother and have fun. 3 months after, he had no cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And no one know how.
Mm-hmm.
So it is him, that make that book with a strange name.
I don't know right now.
Oh, okay, I will find that. And
but there's more
he said-
people that change their
Yeah. So it is focus and fun and nice things. Have a belief. I believe that I'm allowed to have a nice time. I believe that my God is saying, have fun.
Mm.
I believe,
Yes.
And then the hope and the loving.
Yes.
There was another man that was, the boat was going down. It was around Greenland, and he come up on the ice place. And no one should be able to live there more than 3 days. He lived there 3 months. Okay, when he gets saved, he had to cut one of the leg because it was disturbed of freezing and some other things. But he lived, and he said, but he said, I was totally sure I will see my grandkids again. And I really hope that was true. And I was thinking at that the whole time. And I love them a lot.
Very powerful.
Another things that prove it was that was 3 researchers that was taking walk in Canada. You know that one?
Yeah.
And the 2 of them special was totally, you have all kinds of instruments.
Yeah, to measure their body temperature.
Yeah. And then the other one was suddenly able to see where they was going.
Yeah, because they was in the storms. Storm.
So they was
snowstorm.
And then he got the hope. His temperature got up. I mean, it didn't get warmer, but he get warmer. And so on and so on.
And other also got infected by hope.
And as soon that,
it's very
so
powerful.
we know that, and we don't know how it's going on, but we know it happened.
Yes. So keep the belief, remembering the hope, and keeping the hope and love.
Yeah, and that's the reason I say pray. Whatever is praying for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you.
Welcome.